Okay, great.
Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. It is January 19th, 6:16. Welcome to the Parks and Recs meeting. If no objections, I'd like to have the approval of the agenda for the prior meeting, or the approval minutes, pardon.
So recommended?
They are approved.
We need a roll call for
Oh, I'm sorry. Campbell.
Disapproved. And I have no objections.
Thank you, Campbell.
Thank you for calling in, Cam.
Sure.
So we'll start with the new business, which is our guest, Diana. I'm sorry,
Start with Kate.
Kate?
Sure.
Kate, there we go. Kate, request to use Children's Beach Lawn and Bandstand in mid-September for the Nantucket project.
All right.
Oh, great. Would you like to give us some?
Yeah, well, the Nantucket project is in its 7th year. The reason for requesting this is the ability to have more people, and that means having more islanders. We have an islander pass, and so giving that space. But it's also the idea of kind of keeping the food and beverage and all the food and talking away from the tent as we have these talks going on. So part of it is for sound, part of it is to have more people, part of it is to be able to control the environment within the tent. What else can I tell you? I'm like, I was just daydreaming. So it's really about using the space. It's about the efficiency, because in past years what we'll have to do is turn over the tent like within a very short period of time for dinner, and it's really hard on our volunteers and the White Elephant. We love our partnership with them, but we really stress it out pretty hard that weekend.
Excuse me, may I interrupt to say?
Sure.
Campbell, can you hear everything that's being said?
I can.
All right,
Oh,
thank
good.
you. Okay, just check.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, we've been looking out at the Children's Beach from the White Elephant every year and thinking, wow, that would be so perfect. So this year we decided to put a proposal together and to see if it's a possibility. And I'm open to any questions anybody would have.
I'm going to speak for the events work group. We have taken the proposal that everyone received in their packet and pretty well vetted it. The events work group is made up of myself, Amy Baxter, who's the licensing admin.
For the record, would you state your name?
Oh, yes, Carlisle Jensen. I'm the special events coordinator for the town. And as well as someone from the fire department, Steve Butler from the building. We've had Chief Pittman in here looking at it. Greg Tivenin has looked at it. So essentially what we did is we took the initial proposal, and the work group made a couple pretty big comments regarding accessibility, regarding making sure that the concessionaire and the beaches remain open, and also the DPW took a really good look at the map of the Children's Beach area to ensure that it has the capacity to have that many people in that small area. And then we also looked at the impact on the neighborhood and how having it all, everything happening at the White Elephant with the transitions between the meals and the drinks to the programming, that was creating a lot of congestion in that one small area. So essentially the work group suggested, yes, while moving to Children's Beach was a good idea for the programming, also making sure that parking and transportation was moved off-site. And as you can see in this most recent proposal, they have really done a good job in terms of making sure that handicap access is all set. The boat dock will remain open the whole time. The beach cafe and playground will remain open, and actually they're just going to shift. I was talking with Nantucket Tents the other day, just shifted over to make sure that the path from the parking lot area up to the playground, that's not even going to be remotely touched. Also, parking will remain open. There'll be actually signs up saying parking, Nantucket Project is happening, but you're still free to park. Handicap parking will remain open. Yeah, so they've done their homework.
Madam Chairman, if I may, just one thing that pops out on me, for me, is the alcohol beverages not being served until after programming is finished. I know we have a children's beach policy. And I open the floor for comment. Jack, or
What were you saying about?
Well,
the
just-
children's speech?
there's, in the very detailed, to your credit, use of the space and the optimization of it. Under the food beverage, it says all alcohol beverages are not served until after programming is finished. It's finished at approximately 7 p.m.
Yeah.
It'll be back at the White
White
Elephant.
Elephant.
Okay.
Yes.
No alcohol or food under the tent.
On the White Elephant property, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just have a couple of thoughts on the layout from what I'm seeing here with the packet that I was sent. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, so I was reading about the AV tent. That's where the generators are going to be, correct?
Yes.
And that there was a 50-foot, 50 decibel, at 50 feet you'd hear 50 decibels. And that seems very, there's not a lot of 50 feet space in this area we're talking about. And the way it's so close to the playground and the concession, I would think, in my mind, the noise could be a bit of a issue. So I wondered about taking the main tent. I know this might go against some of what was just presented by the events coordinator for the town, but to square the tent more with the pathway that's along the beach and put the exits on that side, then to, towards the beach. So instead of walking over the grass, they would walk on the sidewalk, and to move the bathroom tent a little bit closer and towards the front, above the exit sign there, and moving the AV tent to come along that other side. It would have about the same distance as I'm seeing right here. So inside the tent, I would assume you'd have the same noise levels regardless of where the AV tent was, but that might sort of consolidate the tents and leave a little bit more buffer around the and green space around the other part of the lawn, the children's beach lawn there. Do you see what I'm talking about there?
Yes. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And so then to use the bathroom, people would go out the main entrance and just come around that corner and have access to the bathroom. I'm assuming the AV tent is not something the public needs to access. And then the other thought on the AV tent was to maybe move it over to the, it would be the west side of the bandstand maybe, as a thought. But so anyway, that was sort of my input on the layout, because it seems the way it is that this tent structure takes up the entire lawn, but not necessarily in a way that would be easy to control the public's interface with it, if you will. And that was sort of my thoughts on the layout.
I think that would be fine.
If Madam Chairman, if I may, I think the presentation of the actual layout is organic, and your considerations, Campbell, are very legitimate, and I think that this is kind of just a design on paper more than an actual layout. And with your thoughts in mind, right? But your thoughts are correct.
The AV tent with the generators in it is within 20 feet of the concession stand. So that means that it's more than 50 decibels if you're at the concession stand or at the playground.
The playground is what comes to mind for me, though it's not on this diagram that we're all looking at here. So you're absolutely right. If there was a way to switch that around and maybe...
That's why I was suggesting bringing it up either on the side of the main tent
Right.
or to the, I think it would be west, but to the road side, the Harborview Way side of the bandstand. I believe there's some open territory there.
Do the tents have sides on them?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's a hidden feature,
It's
basically.
the sound.
Yeah.
It's the AV tent, but that's where your equipment is.
That's where they're
It's not
controlling.
necessarily the sound itself.
That's right.
The control
That's right.
location.
That's right.
So the
It's
sound
not
is
amplified from that.
right. The sound is inside the tent
That's
itself.
right. And the tent has sides. Now, if it's a beautiful day, we have them open, obviously. Yeah.
But maybe
We
well,
could close
and
them
there's-
close.
Okay, so I'm mistaken. So where are the generators?
I don't know actually where they'll place them, but I can find out. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I thought all the AV type equipment would all be within the tent.
I
or
am not sure of that.
something like that. Okay.
okay. It's legitimate. I don't think having the bathroom tent right next to the main tent is something I would support. Just in our discussion at this preliminary level, I'd like that removed and actually located as far away, even across the path
On the other side.
from the access to Children's Beach, where there are
Right, it's so Nash, the problem with that is they're trying to police this area to keep it contained so that they're able to easily keep the public out without, so then if the bathrooms are more convenient to the public might think, oh, well, that's better than the porta potty over there.
our
Go in there.
refresh me the date.
The 14th of September through the 17th.
All right, so we're in we're in a shoulder season. We've got bathrooms available for the people who are down there. I don't really think the bathrooms are the issue. That's simply my opinion of it. If they're there and people need to use them, you're providing bathrooms that are at the convenience of anyone who's using the facility.
Right. Right.
You got generators here, where are the generators going to be?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, so I will find out exactly where they're.
Generators, be a big thing to the neighbors over there.
Right. I think these are very quiet.
Yeah.
I think we gave the decibels from the generators.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how quiet they are.
And have you talked to the neighbors?
We've just submitted to the yacht club and through the White Elephant as directed by Park and Rec.
And in addition, they're sending the public notice, because this will be going to the Board of Selectmen, to the Brant Point Association. So the Brant
Because
Point
usually we
Homeowners
have-
Association.
Especially something like this, as much noise and as big as this is going to be, usually we have everybody talk to the neighbors and the neighbors get really upset.
We're happy to talk to all of them.
To Jack's point, and it's been my position throughout my term on this board, that the 4 or 5 neighbors have an undue influence on things that happen down there.
Same as the people in Tom Nevis,
Well, in Tom Nevers, it's a Tom Nevers Association
Right.
with 100 and some odd owners. Here we're talking about 4 property abutters, maybe 5. Politics.
And it does, the event
Used to that.
itself does fall within the noise ordinance. In other words, it's over by 7, so
Fine.
if you see what I mean there.
Kamba, your point is well taken, And my point is that this is a legitimate use of the facility, and I don't take a special lean towards the neighbors saying, I don't want that to happen for a couple hours on any specific day.
Right. I'm
Just,
with you.
that's simply my position on it as a member of the commission. But, to Jack's point, it never hurts to have those people on your side.
Exactly,
If
exactly.
they're gonna run from us to the board of selectmen,
Right.
And, yeah, someone's gonna say something, but to my point,
I'm
let's
happy
see.
to go over and meet with them personally.
That's all. Things happen there all summer long, whether it's in the bandstand or whether it's for wine festivals or whether it's for any other event.
Is there some sort of protocol that's followed, like in a butters notice
No.
that's sent, or?
No, it's a courtesy
Yeah, sure.
that we provide.
Yes.
right.
To-
It is
that's-
strictly a courtesy.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is not a rowdy crowd. I mean, this is
It's a
group of-
pensive
Right,
crowd.
exactly. A group of curious people that are really listening to what's happening there. So, you know, maybe you'll hear laughter and maybe you'll hear clapping, but that's about it. It's
There are
not.
no bands playing?
Well, we sometimes have music, but it's not a band. It would be a single performance or a group of people singing, but it's not crazy.
And that later perhaps entertainment would be at the White
Back
Elephant.
at during meals and
Regard-
stuff
yes.
too, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. We do part of our
Well, I
program.
had another question on the, I know the event itself is from
Oops.
So close.
You have to call it back there.
I will. What's the number? No, David, you have to.
We get to hear that message again.
Right.
Sorry.
You have reached a number that does not accept solicitation.
I'd like that on my phone, actually. Can I ask her
I've
how
never
she
heard
gets
that. I've
I've never
heard
heard
I
that
will.
either.
I'll throw myself under the bus.
I wonder if any solicitors.
Sorry,
actually
Campbell,
pay
I
attention
tried to move
take
the
your
phone
number.
and I disconnected you, it's Nash.
Oh, good, thank you. I was looking at the phone sort of going, what just happened?
Right, no, it's me simply spinning the speaker towards the folks who are listening here. Nash.
Okay, great.
All right, we're all good now, thank you.
Okay. So I was just wondering, in terms of the tent setup, being 3 days, I believe, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days, sort of before the events that are supposed to occur in it are happening, and I'm just sort of wondering what the timing issues are there.
Well, it's the same thing as we've done at the White Elephant. It takes a lot of time to set it up. We set it up in the round. We want to do sound checks. We have people going through some of their, there's rehearsals. Every minute is needed in that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other thought, and maybe the events coordinator knows this, I know we've approved, some yoga activities and other activities that occur on Saturdays and Sundays through Columbus weekend, and I'm just wondering if there's a conflict with any of those or not.
Not that I know of.
Campbell, with the yoga and the other events usually run through like Labor Day, maybe into early September, but not to Columbus Day.
Yeah, and historically, actually, the Nantucket Project has run their own yoga there, so
Right.
it's always been available.
But to your point, Campbell, and I'm looking at the notes now that you have in front of you. Setup date is September 10th, and the date of the event is the 14th to the 17th. So there is
That is the first weekend after Labor Day. I mean, we are just after Labor Day.
right. That's a 4-day window that ultimately, or could be considered capturing the children's beach lawn area. If the
Right.
tent company came in on the 10th and the event wasn't until the 14th.
I know it's a floor, it's sound, it's decorating the tent, it's a lot of prep goes into
It's 4
that.
days.
I mean, when I put up the tents for the fair, they usually are up 2 to 3 days before the event. So I was thinking like Tuesday would seem all right, and then it would allow the weekend, the children's beach use for the weekend. But that's, sort of neither here nor there.
We don't, if we can move that setup date to a Monday, the 11th,
Yeah.
Like the
Rather-
first thing in the morning kind of
first thing
thing?
on the
I
morning,
think-
so that Sunday was free and clear, to Candle's point, that weekends are used down
Yeah.
there. If we can say that was, setup date was Sunday, September 11th, with the date of the event on the 14th, we might have more comfort with that. How do you feel about that, Candle?
I think that, personally, I think that would be great, because I am a little nervous about consuming, I know it's, after Labor Day, but it's consuming the entire Children's Beach green for 7 days.
Right.
I'm sure we can make it work for Monday morning. I'd rather Sunday, but I'll take Monday.
Sounds like a song.
You get the next verse. Yeah.
Okay. Madam Chairman, if you would like to make a motion to that, or if anyone on,
Any further discussion?
the motion I would make is to move with the setup date to Monday, September 11th at the earliest, and ask if there is a second for that.
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
okay. We all in agreement there? Tear down date September 17th and Monday, September 18th. That I don't have a problem with, because it's for the duration of the event that we're granting approval.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
End around.
Thank you, Campbell.
3:30.
That's good. We've opened it up for the weekend proceeding, and we've given them the length of the time for their event.
Correct.
Okay.
Any further discussion or questions? Then I make a motion for approval for the use of Children's Beach Lawn Bandstand for the Nantucket project. All in favor? Or do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Great. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Nash. Thanks for all your help.
Just during
And I gave you what I need.
Yeah.
Will you send me a copy of that diagram with
Yes.
those changes or
Yes, I
suggested
will.
changes? And
I'll scan it into.
Okay, that'd be great.
And you will follow up with David with the formality of the paperwork, the setup date, letting us know that Nantucket Tents or whoever you're using has a Monday setup date
Okay.
rather than a Sunday setup
Yes.
date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get that.
That will.
It's nice to
Good to
meet
see
you.
Nice to meet you.
And that will, it will be staked so that they know where the irrigation systems are and
Yeah.
all the normal
Right.
operating procedures out there.
Yeah.
And,
I've already confirmed with them.
and any revisions of the layout of the tent and the AV tent
Right.
and maybe the bathrooms, if possible, to the other side? I
Of
don't
the
know.
path, yeah.
I saw in your diagram, you've got it fenced around, but I don't know whether the bathrooms need to be fenced in. Maybe there's a gate.
Yeah,
Just-
that is a really organic
Good.
picture.
Yeah.
Fine.
So as we,
That's-
we'll
that's
make
all that
some of the
matters.
changes that you suggested when you send me that diagram, and then send a new, maybe more accurate diagram, and more, get a real CAD drawing of it.
Keeping it organic is fine.
Okay.
We are flexible that way. We know that that's what has to happen.
If you could include also with that the clarification of the generators, where those will be.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely,
Thank you.
yeah.
Best case scenario, tucked behind the bandstand to the guess to the east, away from.
Oh, I see.
No, actually, it's not west. It's east side of the bandstand, so that any noise isn't affecting
Okay.
Harbor View Way.
Okay, great,
Tucked in on
great,
the back side of the building,
terrific.
where I think we already have utility services.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the second item, our guest, motion to discuss the new Jetties Beach concessionaires, and Nick is here.
Right. George, sorry he couldn't make it this evening. He had to work. I got to meet Maggie and David outside. Nash, Jack, and Campbell. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Nick Nass. Hi. We're really excited to work with your commission, and we're excited to have a family-friendly, awesome beach restaurant and concession.
I guess I'm just opening the floor for discussion. What changes can you think of in regards to prior?
As far as building, or
Sure, building and.
well, we probably mostly just some decoration, like maybe, but we want to keep it very Nantucket, very nautical. Some surfboards, some like lobster traps, things along those lines. Live it up a little bit. I think we want to take some of the tables they had outside. They had these small marble tables. We want to have some more comfortable tables out there. Maybe add some picnic tables. We want to do something with the Artists Association and nonprofits on Island and kind of paint our picnic tables different Nantucket themes, give it a little, fun for families and kids. We would like to attempt to, I know they do it at Children's Beach, but we'd like to attempt to have movies on the beach every couple weeks. We think that'd be fun for families on Island. As far as the restaurant goes, we would like to, the fare is going to change some. We're going to have less Italian food and more like local seafood, almost like a clam shack that you'd see off Island, but maybe not as much fried food. Definitely have your fried clams, your fish and chips, things along those lines. And super family friendly, a lot of nice concession for the beach goers, keep the rental program going for the chairs and umbrellas and things along that. So just kind of like a really fun beach restaurant.
So I just have a quick question as I'm listening to, let's say I'm with my family at the beach. I've got young kids, which I don't, but if I did. And I want to send my kids up to get, I don't know, they want to get a drink and a little bag of something. Would there be a separate window for them to put in an order for, so they don't have to necessarily come in and be in the restaurant? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was one, and we're going to continue doing that. So they'll be able to go up to the window, order a drink, bag of chips. Definitely want to have some healthy options too: apples, bananas, salads, different sandwiches. But they can also go to that window and get ice cream or things along those lines.
Okay. And so I had read over your proposal. I don't have it with me right now. I did read it over, and I'm very excited to see some young blood and great new ideas coming in to sort of enhance everyone's experience down there. One of the questions that I did have, you had a sample menu included with the packet, which was great, and I'm not asking for a specific price, but just sort of a ballpark, because I know you must have, done a cost analysis for each item that you're going to be offering. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what it might be for one of your hot dogs with chips, a hot dog with chips or something I think you had on the menu.
Yep.
Just trying to get an idea of when you say
So we definitely took his old menu as a start, and things are going to go right along those lines. We're in the middle of costing right now. I could give you menu prices probably in about a month and a half. We still have some. We have a food trade show coming up in February, and we're going to the Cisco headquarters and doing a food tasting with them. We want to certainly give good quality at an affordable price, and we're not just talking about summer people, because we want to extend the season to both shoulders. So we know that we want to be able to make it affordable for island families. Also doing promotions along those
I'm
lines.
not hearing a $20 hot dog is what I'm not hearing, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
Campbell, if I can interject, I respect your line of questioning, and it takes me to the sort of another parallel, and it's the area that we are most concerned about as a commission, and it's the use of the property for events other than your concession, and how you plan to make the property available for other entities to host events, whether it be community sailing or weddings or any other event that may come before
The
you.
Sandcastle building,
As an aside, yes, I'm thinking more of the larger, more not necessarily profit-oriented, but more community-oriented significant events.
So how we are going to host them, or
Yes, knowing as you do, because you did your homework about the concession. How do you plan on changing any of your cost structure?
for the events?
No, let me be less specific, because I'm not concerned about your cost structure. Your availability of the facility
Well,
to events coming in.
in the lease, we're allowed 15 events total.
Okay.
4 where we're allowed to be closed for. And then there are 4 events that we are required by the lease to do, which is one is the Opera Cup, Pops, 4th of July, and Swim Across America. So we're already discussions with them. And then the other 15, we obviously, want to do, fun events that people that come to us. We hope to book all of them.
From this desk, we have no control over those.
Right.
My question is just that you are open to those, and that those are in your
Oh, sure.
your lease agreement.
We're very excited
Yes.
to work with all those
Great.
people, and already spoke with Diana, and I think we have an agreement, and we're super excited to do that one.
Okay.
What are your general hours?
So there's been a change that we need to close, stop serving at 10 instead of 11. In the summer, we are going to offer a very light breakfast from 9 to 11 when we open for lunch, and on the weekend we're going to offer a full breakfast from 9 to 11, and then open up for lunch, and then going till 10 o'clock.
And in season,
That'll be 10 weeks from mid-June to Labor Day, and then the shoulder season, we don't have. We roughly have what we think. We're thinking all day, Friday and Saturday, Sunday until it kind of dies out, because from what I've seen working in the restaurant industry, Sundays can have a early dinner, but usually by 7, 8 people are home. And then I'd like to do a Thursday night. We'd like to be open the whole time, but with the cold weather, I just don't see people going down there.
Jack, any thoughts?
No questions.
Okay. Congratulations on your
Thank
new
you.
lease.
Thank you.
welcome.
I look forward to it, and there's no harm in change in anything that happens along these lines. And again, our position as a town, if I can speak on your behalf, it's just things roll over, new leaseholders take over, and they offer new menus, new opportunities, and my primary concern was that some of the existing operations were accepted and in the contract, basically, going forward, and that new opportunities for people to solicit you for space were not being priced out. Again, I'm not interested in the price as much as that you are open to renting the facility for other events beyond just your concession.
Why'd they close you at 10 instead of 11? I didn't think we had any problems.
It wasn't, we weren't asked about that, what we preferred, and we didn't have that in our proposal either. It was just something that the Board of Selectmen came up with.
It's been working very well.
Well, if we can change it, we were all for it.
The terms of,
One year, maybe you can.
yeah, and
Yeah.
my question, the terms are fixed for how long?
The terms are fixed for 5 years.
Okay. Terrific.
Any further thoughts, Campbell?
No, not right now. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. It's nice to meet everyone.
Nick, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Not luck, you're going to have a great spot. It is
I'm
a
really
great
excited.
spot. It's a very unique location.
It's special.
Yeah.
It's a really special spot.
I know you see it. Okay.
All right, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Do you want to stay for my piece?
Yeah,
It
of
might
course.
be- You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't.
I'm sure I'll learn some.
I know you will.
So moving on to the next item of business, our third guest, Diana from Nantucket Community Sailing, with a request to use Jetty's Beach for the Opera House Cup Awards Party on August 20th.
Officially, for the record, I don't know whether I need to recuse myself from this as a Board of Advisor member, and that changes anything, but I am certainly here in full capacity to listen to the presentation.
Yeah, I think
If there's a
abstain
vote,
or just that, yeah, I think you probably have to abstain.
I have to abstain from a vote, but I
Sure.
can certainly add my 2 cents to anything
So,
that.
David, I'm wondering, would I need to abstain because I volunteer for the OHC during the day?
No, I'm in an official capacity as a board advisor. You as a volunteer are separate, but your vote cannot really count because you are calling in.
Okay, great.
And you are not here, in fact.
Oh, good, Campbell, you can still
You have enough
volunteer.
people to vote.
We may not have a quorum on this, and we can carry it through to the next meeting. We can give a conditional approval that lets you move forward with plans, and at our next full quorum, we can carry that forward and say, approval's given.
Can we be back for the next meeting?
Campbell, what is your schedule? Will you be here
I
for the
will
next
be
meeting?
back on Sunday, so I will be there for the February meeting.
Okay, for that one.
Okay. Well, we will address this when the time comes. In the meantime, we will discuss the Opera House Cup Awards Party.
This
Diana,
is the
welcome.
45th, thank you, the 45th Opera House Cup. So we're thinking about what we want to do special this year to commemorate that, because it is a big deal. It is the oldest regatta in the East Coast, maybe the country. And it's certainly the highlight of the East Coast racing circuit. We have, I gave you a little bit of history about how we run the regatta. I know that Nash and Campbell are quite familiar with it. Last year, we had 57 boats participate, and we had changed the previous 2 days of racing to be also part of the Panerai Series, so we had 39 boats in those 2 days of racing. And this year, we expect to have, I'm sure we'll have 60 boats in the Opera House Cup. So it's really a premier event, and people book it on their calendars quite early. Now the fact that they can have 3 days of racing
it's even more attractive for them to spend the money to come to Nantucket. So it's, we're excited about that. We work with the Coast Guard and the Marine Department for all the on-the-water safety, and we have a great set of professional and volunteer support staff on the water. The awards party has changed over the years. It had been 15, 20 years ago a big blowout party with lots of young people. Probably some underage drinking happened. This was before my time. And it was just a big party, end of the season kind of party. We have evolved it over the last 10 years or so to be much more of a calmer party, although up until last year it still had been close to 1,000 people every year. Last year, at Marshall's request, we reduced the size of the party to 350 people, and he kept the restaurant open. And that was the first time we had done the Opera House Cup party with the restaurant open. So we did things like hire Cranberry Transportation to do van service to bring our participants to and from the party. Most of our participants don't have cars because they come by boat, so they take taxis or something anyway. So providing the shuttle service for them was handy, and we propose to do that again. And we also set up the party a little further out on the beach than we normally do. So if these are the flags for the restaurant, we set up kind of between the flags and the water. So this is actually close to last year's setup. And we would propose doing virtually the same kind of setup again, working with Nick and George on what's going to make the most sense for them in terms of what they have outside. But our first stop was to talk to Nick and George about, can we do the party and can we work with you? And I'm really excited about you guys in the restaurant, about we're neighbors anyway because we have our Jetties Beach rental site just across the parking lot. And I'm really excited about being able to do the party with a very similar layout to what we did last year. We will use the Sandbar restaurant bar and employees. So I think that will, in their liquor license, so I think that will be a good way for us to work together on that. Once you guys figure out your food, we'll talk about whether or not you want to do any of the food. But this worked out quite well last year. We had one entrance tent for the volunteers and the participants to come into. And we fenced it off from the restaurant. The restaurant stayed open. The access to the beach stayed open. So there wasn't really an issue, I don't think, with the restaurant, with parking. And this area here felt honestly empty. I think we had more space than we needed. So when I was talking to Marshall during the party, I felt like we had gone overboard in cutting down to 350. But even more concern to me was not all of our participants could attend. We had to tell some of the boats that they could not bring their whole crew. And that to me is a travesty. This is their party. This is where they get their awards, their recognition for racing all day. And we have to accommodate the skippers and the crews. I don't mind cutting down the party, and I love having, honestly, not having a 1,000-person party made our lives a whole lot easier. We saved a lot of money. So it would just make, we had fewer volunteers, everything was easier to manage. But we need to accommodate the skippers and the crews. So what I talked to Nick and George about is increasing the party to about 500 guests this year, because if you think about 60 boats, and there's usually, I don't know, some boats only have 2 or 3 people, but a lot of boats have 13. And so you need to be able to do the math on that, but I assume on average it's somewhere between 5 and 10 people per boat. So we're going to get to 500 people pretty easily. But I think we can accommodate all of our skippers and crews with this. And we're going to limit the number of tickets they can buy, as we did last year, so we can keep an eye on it and make sure there's not a secondary market in party tickets and things like that. But we're really excited about the changes we made last year in terms of, we love the layout. This area is not a tent. This is just tables set up outside with lights strung over the tables so people could see while they were eating. And that was just like a maypole kind of thing. It was very pretty. So it was really 2 big tents, a chef's tent and the little entrance tent. And it seemed to work out great. And we've got a key group of volunteers and vendors and partners that work with us year after year. So I think we've got the formula down pretty well. But as I was saying, the first stop was to talk to Nick and George, and we've got a contract underway with them, and then to come to you guys, and then I'll start the full permitting process. We hire a professional crew to do cleanup during the party, and then we have our board and advisors and other volunteers do cleanup on the next Monday morning first thing in the morning if there's anything left. But the crew we hire at night really does an awful lot of the cleanup, and there's not a whole lot left for us, but we make sure we pick up every little thing, even if it's stuff that doesn't belong to our party, like straws. We never have straws at our party, but somehow we pick up a lot of straws on the beach. I would advise, if you could get away from straws, not to use straws. But anyway, so that's our plan for the party. Then you've got a timeline for the agenda. It's from 6 to 10 p.m. We do a hard stop at 10. We do the awards. People start coming in at 6, have dinner. We'll have music playing. We have the awards ceremony from 7 to 8. And then the Perfect Day, Brian Glowacki and Perfect Day are a band, and they play from 8 to 10. The bar shuts down at 9:30, and people, at 10 o'clock, people leave. And so we have the vans going kind of in a circle all evening long, because some people leave right after the awards. But so that kind of trickles out from 8 o'clock on. So I'm looking forward to a great 45th Opera House Cup party. If you have any questions.
I would,
I just have one quick question. On the awards party, the party needs to accommodate about 500 guests. And I'm just wondering, like, about would that be between 500 and 600, or?
No, we're not.
I mean,
We're not planning to go over 5.
What would be your top end are you thinking, just with the? Because with my experience last year, like you said, there were a lot of guests that were not able to attend. So I'm just wondering what the flexibility there is for about 500.
I'm assuming our contract is for 500, so I'm assuming we're going to cap it at 500. Last year we numbered the tickets, which actually worked very well. So we knew that you had ticket, 23 through 25, and somebody else had some other tickets. So it allowed us to control the tickets, and I expect that we would do the same thing this year. I said about because I don't know exactly how many, maybe we would be 473 people or 502, but I would expect that if we're going to do 500 guests, we'll have 500 tickets. And I don't know the exact number of volunteers we'll have, but I'm expecting it's probably going to be fewer than 100, but we do 2 shifts of volunteers, and it'll be some number up to 100.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to add that I started participating in this organization back in 2003, and I've seen the transition of this party both prior to those dates as a guest and post 2003 as a coordinator. And the transition has always been in a more conservative focus at each forward-focusing year. And to think that we're down to 500 is amazing. To think that we managed to get by with 350 was a mistake.
Yeah, we had a lot of complaints.
Yeah. That Nick wants to and is open to hosting this is great. I'm curious about the food service, but that again is not relevant to this discussion this evening. I am only here to give my opinion and not to vote. And this organization, Community Sailing, has hosted this event for so many years on this site so successfully that it has my full support, because I know how it's managed, both having worked within the organization from security and ticketing and concessions, the whole food and beverage side, to post-event cleanup. And I think there is not a better organization that looks at the site as needing to be managed before and after an event.
Thank you. We run Nantucket Race Week as a clean regatta.
Right.
We are a gold level clean regatta, certified by Sailors for the Sea. And so as part of that, and we've been one for 8 years, so as part of that process, we try to do everything we can to respect not only the water, but the environment in which we operate. And we try to live what we believe.
So while I can't vote, I can express my opinion, and that would be my statement for the record.
We really can't vote tonight, anyway, because only two of us here can vote.
Correct, but my thought, even preceding this conversation, was as we carry this forward, when we have a quorum, I want it on record
Right.
what my opinions are, and I will not be able to vote. But
So it sounds like February meeting won't work, so I would come back in March.
No, February vote, because I'll be gone for a couple of months. So February work out, all right, because you've got other members.
Oh, so you two can vote tonight, and then other people could vote at another meeting?
no, we need a
Oh, no.
quorum to vote.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
Cheryl's gonna be away in February as well.
Cheryl is,
What I'd like to propose is that you move forward
right,
with
exactly.
the idea that
Right.
the board is behind you on this
Yeah.
until we can meet as a full committee and give you an official position.
and vote formally.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
But informally, I support the proposal, so
Excellent,
it's just that I'm not there.
thank you.
Thank you.
So,
A motion,
a motion to postpone voting until the February meeting?
if we have a quorum,
If we have a quorum.
and recognize at this meeting that we have two commission members here who are
I'm in favor as well.
I'm
in
in
favor,
favor, yes.
and a third by call.
Yep.
And we are just waiting for a quorum for an affirmative vote on this program.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and for all in agreement?
Yeah.
Any nays?
Yeah,
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Which I recuse myself, so.
I might have to fire you from the advisory board.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
temporarily.
And Nick, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited about
Nick,
this.
good luck.
Thanks, guys.
It was
It's a pleasure.
great.
Nice to
You
meet
made a
everyone
good
here.
project. I look forward to seeing you
I
down
look
there.
forward to seeing everyone down there.
And I'll find you and
Get some nice oysters going.
There we go.
thank you, Diane.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let's see, so proceeding on to item number 4, town council opinions regarding commission's authority and fundraising. I'm not sure if Jack and Nash have received,
This was sent in the packet 2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
And if you could just read in for the record, I'm not able to do that.
okay, all right. I have some correspondence from Cheryl that I can read here for a moment. Okay, these are notes from Cheryl that she submitted to be read at this meeting. Let's see, first is from Greg Tiven from Town of Nantucket, and I'll just read his email here. Hi Cheryl, thanks for the very productive meeting this morning. I'm very excited about the prospect of using Parks and Recs as a vessel to drive improvements at our world-class parks, and the town supporting you in any way it can. Here is the opinion from Town Council that the Commission is allowed to actively solicit and fundraise for specific parks-related projects. The funds would go into gift accounts, not a revolver, to be used specifically for the fundraising purpose. This opens a world of opportunity for Parks and Recs to bring great public awareness and participation into our parks programming. Good luck, Greg.
Is there any note about that, who picks up the marketing expenses? Okay, next. Open question.
Okay.
I think that Cheryl had in mind, in talking with someone else about just having donations don't think there was any discussion previous to this about marketing for that.
Okay, we are not in a position to accept 501c3 nonprofit status grants because we are a town commission. We are
Right,
not a
and it wouldn't be
nonprofit.
us.
It would not be us. That would not work.
It would not be the commission, no.
No.
She was mentioning landscaper that she knows that had mentioned to her being very interested in doing some things. So the marketing or the process through which you gain those funds would be valid to pursue. Figure out where we're going with that.
Right, it would be a straight donation. There is no nonprofit status to Nantucket Park and Rec Commission, unfortunately. But it's very important to qualify just where those funds are deposited and what our access to them may be.
Well, in the following discussion from the lawyer, the town's representative or whatever, the monies donated would go into a gift account for a specific thing. So let's say in the memo area, it might say playground equipment at jetties.
That's terrific, yes. Okay.
Right, and then that money would go into this gift account with that descriptor, and then that money used the town treasurer is keeping track of this, and then any monies that are used to purchase new equipment for the playground at jetties would come directly from that specifically identified donation.
That's terrific to hear, Campbell, because it means people can make, and they can make specific donations to specific causes and know that their money is going to that and not redirected by the town. And
Yes,
while
and
it may
that
not be,
lack of redirection is guaranteed in the gift account. It is not as guaranteed in a revolving account, because as you know, with a revolving
Sure,
account, that
yeah.
all goes back into the town to
Yep.
come spitting back out again.
Yep, yep.
These gift accounts would not be doing that. They're specifically for fundraising.
Well, it'd be very nice to have on our next agenda, when we're together, a conversation about how we word any type of marketing piece we could present to the general public, either in an inky public notice or in a mailer that we send out to the town that addresses individual requests for support. But we'll get to get
Okay.
back to that.
We
when
can
we're
add
together.
that in for Marches, do you think?
Well, I'm going to be very candid and say these things take some time. So
Yeah.
yes, we can put it on the agenda for the February meeting or the March meeting to start talking about it and then continue it as old business
Right.
in future
Right,
agendas.
that's what I'm thinking,
Okay.
along with you, which is a good thought, but is to get it sort of on the agenda so
Right.
that it comes up.
Right. We put it on there, and if we can't address it in February, it becomes old business and it stays on the agenda as something to look at.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. The
I
thought of,
think it's a great opportunity.
I think there are a lot of people who would want to make a contribution to a specific area, whether it be Children's Beach or whether it be Winter Park or if Maria was still here, she'd say, focus it all on Dionis. with a new bathroom and extra porta potties and trash cans.
Right.
There's a lot of versatility there. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, exactly. We could get donations from the neighbors at Children's Beach.
the same way we,
To replace the porta potties.
the same way we ask permission from the neighbors on Harbor View Drive to do anything at Children's Beach,
Or,
which we all know what my position is on that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, you're well
For the
supported in that
record.
position, so no worries.
That's right, thank you. I don't retract that at all. Okay. I digress from town council's reading. Was that the only thing?
Well, there is further discussion from, clarification from Brian Riley, Esquire. Shall I read that? In
For the
regards-
record? Yes.
For the record, okay. Greg, in my opinion, the parks, and this is again from Brian Riley Esquire to Greg Tiven. Greg, in my opinion, Parks and Recreation Commission may promote such a gift account. It will be the town treasurer that actually sets up and oversees the account, and there does not need to be a town meeting vote to do so. Monetary donations to a municipality are governed by GLC 4453A, which directs that the treasurer set up a special gift account. The board or officer that received the gift may expend it for the purpose of that gift without appropriation, but only after the Board of Selectmen has voted to approve any requested expenditure. A revolving account may not be used for this purpose, but the gift fund will suffice. The State Ethics Commission considered the potential conflict of interest implications of municipal officials engaging in fundraising and issued the following advisory. And there's a link here, and then it goes on further. The advisory has a link to a longer formal opinion that goes into more detail as to the Ethics Commission's reasoning. In general, I would not expect the Commission to be in a position to run afoul of the inherently coercive prohibition. This is more of a concern for a board or department that might solicit donations from parties that then may have come before them for a permit.
Fortunately, we are not municipal employees,
Right.
and that's the only thing that stands out in that statement. Yeah. So anyone can give us money as a gift account, and we can direct it without the guidelines that would fall a municipal employee with a conflict of interest.
Yes, and then the only thing is, we're fairly sure that the Board of Selectmen would approve the expenditure, as it appears they must approve the appropriation.
I'm not sure whether that reads as they have to approve it.
Yeah, I believe they do.
They do. All right. Well, then, as non-municipal employees, we go before them saying we have no conflict of interest. This money has been granted to Park and Rec for this purpose, and they would be hard pressed to say no.
That's what I'm wondering. I was also wondering whether one goes before the Board of Selectmen beforehand, but you need to have,
Yes, we would. Just to cross our T's and dot our I's. Yes.
right, to make
And-
sure that what we're raising money for actually will be appropriated without
Right.
interruption.
And it may not even ever be presented before an official Board of Selectmen meeting. It may be just an administrative hearing in advance that they just sign off on, and it never just it comes to a full discussion.
Okay.
All right.
All right, great news. Okay, so, just to move on to the last item not on here, is the request for the special meeting, pardon?
I think
I'm
you
sorry,
missed the
David.
other one.
Oh, I'm
Two
sorry.
of these. There's a second section.
Okay.
Have that? Of the town council opinions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what I'm missing here. Okay, thank you. this is also a request from Cheryl to read for this meeting. This is discussion from her, again with Greg. And this starts from Greg to Cheryl, Greg Tiven. Hi Cheryl, here is the opinion from Town Council regarding the charter authorities for the Parks and Recreation Commission. As you can see from the research, unfortunately no broader authorities to manage projects or finances was given to the Commission, not that you would want it, nor any guidance on how to manage the relationship between the Commission and the town. In short, the charter gives the Commission custodial responsibilities over Children's Beach, and we take that to mean the entire park, beach, concession, bandstand, etc. Jetties Beach, same as above, and Nantucket Beach, which says beach cleaning only. There is no mention of Tom Nevers or Winter Park, but historically we have all considered parks and recs involved in these properties. Hope this I hope this clarifies some mysteries around the Commission. Thanks, Greg.
I looked at Dionis.
Yeah.
Is not on that list.
Did you mention Surfside?
Or Surfside.
No.
No, but in the research I've been doing on the beaches, Tom Nevers is specifically, in the list of who owns it. It is given to the Park and Rec Commission the same way Children's Beach is.
For events, when there was some stipulations when that was done at town meeting. Tom Nevers is different than the other beaches. They haven't given us the whole property. They've given us the use.
And so would Winter Park, because those aren't beaches.
One second, Campbell. May I ask Jack to have the floor?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of use on Tom Nevers. We've been given the use of it only. The town still owns it, so has to do the permitting for it out there, as well as we do. We do it first, give somebody permission to use it. But the other beaches we actually own.
Okay. So maybe we need a clarification of that from Town Council or Greg, Town Manager.
Right.
In regards to Tom Nevers' use in also Dionis and Surfside,
Yes,
in addition to Children's Jetties in Nantucket.
yes.
And I was wondering where this started.
What started?
The top part of it directly addresses what we knew Cheryl was looking into regarding funding. And the piece that was just read goes into a different discussion regarding the charter, and then a charter, a change in the charter in 2007.
I'm not sure about that, but I do know that any clarification we make now can continue to be clarified
Okay.
because nothing happens quickly around here. No rug is pulled out from underneath us within any 6-month time period. So we can clarify these statements and on our positions in our properties under management so that
Okay.
everybody is very clear about just what we are allowed to do and what we are authorized to give permission, or who we are authorized permission to operate upon. If that helps at all.
And
Yes, no, I was just sort of wondering where that came from, and I can see in the, it's at the very bottom of, sort of the first response was to Libby Gibson from John Giorgio, where it says, "Dear Libby, you have asked me for a preliminary opinion regarding the authority of the Parks and Recs Commission over certain town recreational land.
Great question. Very great
And that was
question.
August 27th, and then he responds to her request
And John,
with
sorry.
the, you know, the information that carries on after that, which,
May we, has that been read into the record?
It is not.
Then may we read that into
Yes.
the record right now?
Yep.
For this meeting?
All right. It's quite a long one, so.
No, that's
it's
okay,
all right.
but this is important.
Yep,
This is why we're
absolutely.
here.
Yep, okay. So this is from Greg Tiven again. And this
no,
was,
this is
No.
John
No.
Giorgino.
Okay.
John,
Yep.
to Libby Gibson's
okay.
request.
So this is from John Giorgio, at kplaw.com, so legal correspondence.
Mhm.
To Libby Gibson, and also copied was Erica Mooney and Greg Tiven. And this is as follows. Dear Libby, you have asked me for a preliminary opinion regarding the authority of the Parks and Recreation Commission over certain town recreation land. Based on my research, I believe that the history of the Parks and Recreation Commission is as follows. Chapter 169 of the Acts of 1965 created a Board of Public Works and designated that board as having all of the powers and duties vested in Park and Recreation Commissions under the general laws. Chapter 459 of the Acts of 1987 amended the prior act and created a separate Parks and Recreation Commission appointed by the Board of Selectmen and having all of the powers of a park commission under a general law. Chapter 45. The town charter was enacted in 1996. Section 3.4, Amendment Section 3, states that the Parks and Recreation Commissioners are appointed by the Board of Selectmen, but Section 4.4b states that the town administration does not include the Parks and Recreation Department. In 2007, however, the charter was amended to provide that employees of the Parks and Recreation Commission come under the appointment, removal, or other authority of the town manager. Despite this apparent discrepancy, you have informed me that when the charter was amended in 2007, the original language contained in section 4.4b that said that the Parks and Recreation Department was not part of town administration was inadvertently left in the charter. In my opinion, I would certainly concur that the language of the 2007 amendment to the charter, which is inconsistent with the original charter language, controls. Section 46-3 of the Town Code authorizes that the Parks and Recreation Commission lease land under its control for up to 5 years without a town meeting vote. In my opinion, the words "under its control" should be interpreted as referring to town land that is explicitly placed under the custody of the Parks and Recreation Commission pursuant to a town meeting vote. And then there's further chapters, etc. Okay. General Ledger, Chapter 45, Section 14 provides in relevant part.
May I
Yes.
make a recommendation?
Certainly.
That we note that this document is on record
Yeah, we gotta.
for this evening,
we gotta
rather
make sure this is in our record.
rather than reading it
Certainly.
and all the details.
Mhm.
We will reference this document dated August 27th, 2014,
Yes.
as going on record in its entirety, because there are several aspects of it that right away flag me.
Is what?
Flag me, make me question.
Do you question what he's saying? here?
Yes. Us as employees,
Mhm.
to begin with,
Yep.
of the town.
He's saying that we special municipal employees?
He's saying we are employees as members of Park and Recreation. We are employees of the town.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
There's such a thing as special municipal employees.
Right, there are aspects of this that we have to have town council review separate from this document, but we will enter this document into the record as having been reviewed and put on record.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff in there, he's right, I certainly was committees that didn't, a lot of that stuff happened.
I think there's too much going on in this just to whitewash it and say,
I agree.
we accept
I agree.
it as it's being presented,
Mhm.
okay? So, if, I don't think we need a motion for that, but if you would like to make a motion to add this document to the record for this evening, it's in its entirety, as being presented in the agenda of January 19th, I would second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. So that would include all of these documents that are included in,
Everything that's mentioned
that is
in
mentioned in this letter to Libby Gibson from John Giorgio.
For a long time.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Yes,
that's
I agree.
Very important.
Yes. Okay, so all of this to be included in further discussion and documents.
Yes. Great.
All right.
Just, should this be under, continue as old business if
Yes, I would put that document as an old business review, and we will continue to carry it forward. That way, I'm sorry, Madam Chairman.
Certainly. Yep. I agree. Okay.
Because I think it also makes creates a drastic shift from where we currently are.
Until we go through the details of that, it's
Yep.
kind of hard to take a stand. There's too much information.
There's a lot of pieces. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so that will be included in old business moving forward for further discussion and review of the documents. Okay. I guess then the fifth item of business would be to have the special meeting on the 2nd of February, special meeting request to discuss the transfer of management of activities at Children's Beach from Visitors Services to Nantucket Community School.
School's gonna take it over now?
They would like to present that to
Okay.
us. I believe they want to
Yeah.
move forward with that.
Which one is that?
I'm sorry, Maggie,
Yes.
it should be something at the end after old business.
Oh, okay.
Just so
Pardon me.
it's before we adjourn,
Okay.
okay, so
Okay.
if we can kind of go back
Okay,
to old
go,
business.
pardon me. So we'll strike that, and we'll move that to the end of the meeting here. Then moving on to old business, and with a CPC update from Nash.
All right, CPC update. As the Park and Rec rep for CPC, one of the two projects we have under management is Nantucket housing and Sakeum's Path.
What?
Sakeum's Path.
Okay.
That's just been given to me. I don't know whether it's not really a Park and Rec thing, but it's just been put on my shoulders as a CPC guy, separate from Park and Rec. But the Housing Authority is a Park and Rec situation that I'm working with both of them because Park and Rec has a seat on the CPC board, and I am assigned project manager responsibilities that don't tie in directly to this commission's responsibilities, but just to give you an update. The Housing Authority, working with Ann Huspa there for the focus of affordable housing on Nantucket. It's going well. There are lots of questions and answers that go back and forth. I have a construction background, so I'm very comfortable asking questions about who's doing what and why and how much things cost. And Sakeum's Path was just put on my lap on Tuesday at our last CPC meeting because I heard Rich Tur was handling it in the past. So now it becomes mine.
Okay.
So I have no update to give on that at the time. However, as our Park and Rec representative, these are the two projects that I am focusing on and will be handling for CBC.
And we haven't got anything in with,
With
we aren't asking for any money for anything.
nothing,
Ball fields or anything.
nothing.
I guess that building's in there.
Well, no, there are some open ends. The nobody are playing fields, for instance, the not clubhouse, but the facilities building for
Right.
that property is the restrooms, basically, and a little shade spot, a changing room for guests, players, is a project that's being handled by Linda Williams as project manager
Oh, she is?
through CBC. So while they granted us the funds and we think of the playing fields as ours to manage, community school schedules all activity, and Linda Williams is the project manager for that. And at our next meeting, we will get an update from her on the funds that are set aside for some type of structure for restrooms and changing rooms, but that are still sitting there because the town, while Diane O'Neill was still in charge, became inadequate to cover the designs that were being submitted. The designs submitted came in at 300% to 400% over the amount that had been allocated.
Because she made a grandiose building.
For whatever reason. And so while funds are set aside, we have to look at those funds now, and I need to get a latest project update from that project manager, Linda Williams, to be able to present to the commission.
You want to sit down someday for a couple of days so she can explain it to you.
And it may take just that. So that's my CPC update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question, Nash, on the CTC. Is that something that the commission could try and request funds for improvement to the Jetties Beach playground equipment? I think there was discussion at one point that maybe there's a big turtle down there.
That's a good question, Campbell, and the question becomes whether it's town property or not. And if it's town property, then the town has to make the application request. A parallel would be the town came to the CPC this year for $200,000 to replace the flagpole at the Sconset Rotary. And it was denied. But the playground at Jetties Beach is a very legitimate request. And I would much rather be on the commission reviewing a town application for new playground equipment at a location like that than for a flagpole at the Sconset Rotary. But the town has to make that happen. The town has to make that happen.
It's possible to try and address.
Right, but the town has to apply for that,
Right,
because
right.
that
So
is
just,
not
you know,
ours.
it's not a complete, you can't do that. There's a way to do that.
There's a way to do it,
That's great.
the town has to apply for that improvement. And we can't do it from Park and
We'll figure out
Rec.
based on what we just took a look at. To the fine details, I was wondering more just as a general idea, could the commission or the town apply to the CPC for something like upgrading, or replacement of some of the equipment,
Absolutely.
playground equipment?
Through the DPW, who was the applicant for the Sconset Rotary flagpole. So
Yeah.
yes, to your answer.
But we're not doing a flagpole.
We are not, but our head of DPW is leaving at the end of the month, and we'll have a new person
Yes.
in very shortly. Well, maybe not, who knows?
Yes, well, hope springs eternal.
Yes. So that's my, to your CPC question, there's my response. Madam Chair, back to you.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions or discussion in regards to CPC updates for Nash? Nope.
No.
Okay, then moving on to,
Nice to know what Linda has done for that building.
It will be, and she was unavailable to attend our meeting on Tuesday. Our administrator will put a request to her for an update, and hopefully she will be able to attend our next meeting, which is the second Tuesday of every month, and give us an update at that time.
thanks, Jen. Next for old business is the creative uses of public parks. Campbell, if you want to speak on that.
I have not pursued anything since I've been out of town.
Okay.
So I think that it stands as was stated in the minutes from November. And when I get back, I'll have an opportunity to connect with people and like that.
Okay, so
I had a terrible time. My email was malware on my computers, and the whole thing has been a nightmare. But anyway,
I'd like to continue this then as old business, then to the next,
yes, that would be
for
great.
the next agenda, regards to the creative uses for public parks. Next item after that for old business is discussion of porta potties at Children's Beach. And, I'm sorry, I don't have discussion for that.
I have nothing to add to that now. I know that we've discussed the inconvenience of the temporary porta potties that are in place, and we were hoping for something nicer that would accommodate families and kids and
Are the
adults.
restrooms closed?
Pardon?
Is that what, are the restrooms closed now forever? or-
I don't know the status of them, but I do know that people were reluctant and not favorably inclined to use porta potties because they were just that at our finest
Right.
in town
So,
beach.
and I
Park.
don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to find out if the DPW is the contact for that.
I think they are not. I think it's probably Visco or actually I would
I
start.
I think it would be the DPW, but also, you know,
That's what I'm saying, the DPW is the one that hires them.
You think so?
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
So maybe we can continue this discussion with certainly old business and inquire in regards to the DPW. I'm not sure what the title of is it the director, the new director that's coming in that might have
I think you might
ideas
get
of
more
this?
information from the facilities manager.
Okay, sure, from the facilities manager to continue it with this discussion with him
And that's
as
Mark,
old business.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And with a call saying, "Hi, I'm the chairman of Park and Rec,"
Sure.
rather than I'm the neighbor,
Yep.
that would just qualify you
Yes.
and get a little bit better of an answer.
Yep. Duly noted.
If you were inclined to make that call.
Certainly.
Or Campbell,
Uh-huh.
as you could
Yeah.
make the call as
Mhm.
as a commissioner, just let them know who you are right from the start, and you will get a better
I was
answer.
thinking of doing that, but if Maggie's up for doing that, she's there and could do it probably
Certainly.
quicker than I'll get on it, but
Yep.
I only mentioned it just to qualify the person making the ask. They will respond better.
I would like to have that passed, so when we have our February meeting, we would have some update on from the facilities manager regarding those.
I've often said I was Jack Gardner, and I had immediate
I
responses
bet you did.
to all kinds of questions.
Something about my voice that it's gonna work.
And I know where you live.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to be in touch with Mark,
Okay.
and then include that.
Oh, Mark Voigt, yeah, who's
Yes.
in charge of that now, yes.
Yeah.
Who is very amicable and,
He seemed very receptive when he was here
Yes.
prior.
Yep.
So I'd myself be happy to take that on correspondence with him in regards to including that with old business for the February
excellent.
meeting. Okay. Any further thoughts? Okay, all right. On to, I make a motion to have the special meeting on February 2nd. This is in regards to discuss the transfer of management of activities at Children's Beach from Visitor Services to Nantucket Community School. Melissa Murphy and Caitlin Waddington would like to speak to us and present their ideas.
February 2nd?
February 2nd.
I will not be here.
Okay, so let's see, will you guys, who's gonna be here that week?
I will be there.
I will be here.
And Jack, are you?
I'm leaving on the 27th of January.
So that's not gonna work.
Friday.
Right. The second, I will not be in
Okay. So,
the United States.
When are you, I mean, will you be around earlier in the week? Just in
No,
case we-
I'm going, I won't be back until the 4th
Okay.
and, of February. And, no, excuse me, the 6th. I have a boat coming back here. So it's not I will be on island consistently from the 7th of February to our next meeting, which is on the 16th. And then I leave on the 17th again, and I will be gone for until the 27th.
Okay. And Jack, when do you leave?
I leave the 27th of January. I'll be back. I get back early in April, but I gotta go to the hospital for an
Right.
operation. So I'll be over my Cape for a couple of weeks.
I will, work with Caitlin and Melissa to confirm if they can meet with the two, or, the two of you who are here,
We could have a subcommittee.
subcommittee.
There you
I'm
go.
not sure, I'd have to check with Melissa, she's traveling, and won't be back until early next week, so, I will get back to you to let you know what happens.
And you,
That's what they wanna do, is have a meeting with you to inform you of what's going on.
yeah, I can be on the phone for that meeting if you
Okay.
want.
All right.
So use my cell phone.
Okay.
I am gone all February, and I'm available from the 7th through the evening of our meeting on the 16th.
We still have a meeting on the 16th.
Yep.
For a
Right.
regular meeting.
Yeah, and that's on my schedule.
Okay.
so this will be a subcommittee just for discussion.
It may,
potential.
I don't know. and that's-
Should this,
It may require a quorum,
okay, yes.
so.
And the,
Because you may require a quorum because the visitor advisory committee is also going to be, reviewing this, and I think
Mhm.
they have to give approval
Yep.
for this as well. So
Okay.
this may be a situation that,
Yeah. They may have to wait until the February meeting.
well, they'd like to
Yeah.
move forward with all the, with the arrangements with scheduling and
Mhm.
getting everything in place for the community.
Do they have a proposal to submit, or is it just a discussion?
It's a memorandum of understanding that I was going to send to you all, once we know
Okay.
of a date, I may have to send it to you anyway. So, we'll let you know. We'll get that out to you soon.
Okay, David, you figure out how we do it, and I'll be there.
Okay, thank you, Campbell.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we'll hear back from David in regards to when that meeting, or subcommittee meeting may occur. I'd like to make a motion to, if there's any other items of business or old business to discuss, or any further discussion in regards to the potential for a special meeting, or if not, then I'd like to make a motion to adjourn for the evening,
Second.
Yes.
and it passes.
All those in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Passes. All
Thank
right.
you all very much.
Thank you very
Campbell,
much.
nice to hear from you tonight. Thank you for your
Yes,
time.
well, thank you very much for keeping me on line.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, good night.
All right.
Good night.